India win. Unbelievable scenes here at the Bull Ring. India, the world champions.
What if that catch had been dropped? What if there was a team of only left-handers? Or what if the rain didn't play spoil sport in a World Cup defining match?
The beauty of cricket lies in the small margins that not only define the result of the game, but also tournaments, legacies, and the entire business of cricket.
Welcome to the Reverse Sweep Show, where we discuss the alternate realities of the cricketing world, hosted by two delusional cricket fans, myself Suyash and my co-host Abhinav.
We have a passion for stats and a vivid imagination. Expect deep analysis garnished with our personal biases and hot takes. Join us as we explore alternate realities and dissect those game-changing moments that could have altered cricket history and narratives forever.
This is the cricket podcast you have been waiting for. Hello and welcome to the Reverse Sweep Show. This is Suyash. Joining me is my co-host Abhinav. How's it going, AB?
All good, Suyash. It was just a week back that we were traveling together in Azerbaijan. And that is where this entire idea of this podcast came up, right? We were discussing, and we always used to discuss these hypothetical situations, scenarios around cricket. And we thought that it is a good idea to bring our delusion, our imagination, and our fandom and love for the game in a podcast format to all the cricket fans out there and see if there are other people who resonate with us. But for everyone listening in, Suyash, what do you say they can expect from this podcast? What are the kind of discussions that we'll be having?
Yeah, so what we would be looking at is exactly what you said. We would go into that delusion zone, look at all the hypotheticals and what if scenarios. What if that fateful catch Sreesanth would have dropped in 2007 T20 World Cup final, and what could it have led to? So looking at all the possible offshoots of the realities, and also looking at some of the hypothetical 11s, which we love doing together while discussing, whether in cafe or in pub, and see from there. AB, could you tell what is in store for the viewers and listeners for episode 1?
Yeah, of course. So as cricket fans, we have all felt that huge break that the Indian team got, the men's Indian team got for a month and a half. And then we have some cricket action which resumed with the India-Bangladesh Test series. And looking at that, we thought that we should pick up a topical discussion for the first episode and look at something around India versus Bangladesh. And maybe do you want to elaborate on that further?
Yes, so it came as pure coincidence. Of course, India and Bangladesh were playing together. Pakistan had a series versus Bangladesh at home in which they were, to a surprise for many, Bangladesh won 2-0 away. Pakistan haven't been great at home, but still it was a surprise. India has been a beast, of course, at home. I was also reading a very famous book by a cricket historian, Ramchand Guha, which is India After Gandhi, and I'm on the chapter where there is a discussion about a new nation to be carved out in 1971. Without getting too political and controversial, we thought it would be a fun topic to see that if a unified Pakistan-Bangladesh team could do any damage versus this India team. A lot of people talk about India-Pakistan being one nation and one team. But we thought that this could be an interesting topic, especially what we said earlier, that Bangladesh beat Pak in Pak, India beat Bangladesh quite comfortably 2-0. So could it be that a unified team could do wonders? What are your thoughts on this, and especially on the Indian side of things, that they are so dominant at home? What do you think about that?
Yeah, as you said, India is a beast at home. And if you look at the records, then no team has won a series in India in over 12 years now. So actually, the last series that India lost at home was back in 2012 against England. And since then, we have won 18 series straight at home, and that is massive. When we talk about the actual number of test matches, we have won 40, drawn 7, and only 4 defeats.
Ah,
So,
that's a wow record.
yeah, and I don't think any other team has had that kind of a record in the history of Test cricket, at least since the time I have started watching it. And this 4 defeats and series wins have been against all teams. When we talk only about the Asian teams, then I don't even remember when was the last time we lost a series to an Asian team.
Yeah, forever. Probably we lost a test match here and there with Pakistan in 2000s. Yeah, we have been so dominant.
Exactly, and that also demands the question of what makes India this dominant at home. Um, I
Yeah.
really think that having this duo of Ashwin, Jadeja, and a really deep batting lineup makes India very, very strong at home. Plus, having
Yeah,
a
yeah, absolutely. I think people always say about picking 20 wickets as the most important ingredient to win a test match. Defense wins titles, bowlers win test series. Uh, we have got two freaks of cricketers out there, Ashwin and Jadeja, who give you multidimensional skills. And then you have got, for probably the first time in history, an array of fast bowlers with some bench strength to also come in with the likes of Akashdeep. We have got full stock of variety when it comes to the bowling attack, both pace and spin. So even if India is not going through the purple patch when it comes to batting, which India has been renowned for, we are still able to win a lot of test matches and series. I mean, remember back in 90s and 2000s when we were growing up in our formative years, uh, spin was of course one of the big factors for touring sides, but the other fear factor was the great batting lineups that we used to have. We still command world-class batsmen, but we are able to win these test matches and series consistently, even abroad as well. It's because of the bowlers, and that for me is the number one factor.
And also, we have match winners through the lineup, right? Like any single player can just take the match away from the opposition on his day. You start up from the openers, right? Rohit Sharma, Yashasvi, Gill, Kohli, and then coming down to Pant, Jadeja, Ashwin, Bumrah. It's a formidable 11 that we have right now in India.
And yeah, if it's a freak test match, you can also have a Karun Nair or a Dhruv Jurel coming in and still being able to be a thorn in the opposition side.
Exactly.
So for an opposition team to win one test match, yeah, you can. If India has an off day, an off test match, start of a new season, but winning two in the series, it's near to impossible.
Yeah, and since we are doing this exercise of picking up a combined 11 from Pakistan and Bangladesh, what kind of factors should we look at? Like, what does it take to win a test match or a test series in India?
Yeah, so we'll probably zero in on what we said just now. 20 wickets, you need a bowling attack to do that. And India is probably not in the purplest of patches when it comes to top and middle order batting. Probably hone in on there. You need good pace because, as Shoaib Akhtar famously says, pace is pace. Yeah, you need that extra zing and not just like unidimensional when it comes to it. You need to have some amount of variety there, and you need to have quality spinners. At least 2 to 3 spinners which can pick wickets and are not containment related. For me, this stands out because there was a lot of discussion about baseball when England came to India, and after the second or third Test matches, any discerning fan would or any analyst would say it was the bowling of England that was causing problems. They came up with young spinners who did okay, but unless and until you have the attack to pick 20 wickets, it's very difficult.
I also
What do
feel
you think?
when we talk about spin specifically, we need fast spinners because that's a growing trend in cricket, and we have also seen Indian batters struggle against that. Also, if you look at the statistics and break it down, then overs 20 to 40, when the ball starts to, loses the lather, but is still hard. And when you get fast spin along with bounce, that is when Indian batters struggle the most. Also, since Indian batters are not the best players of sweep shot, although they are picking it up, there are a few batters who play sweep shot, but not as frequently and not as effectively. I think that is one area that touring teams should focus on. Then
Yeah,
again, the factor.
yeah, I think on the spin point, there's another factor that classically the Indian batters, when they come with an attack orientation in their mind. They may not use spin, but they like to use their feet come down. And if you look at the second innings of the first Test match between India and Bangladesh, I think Rishabh Pant and Shubman Gill showed that to Mehdi Hasan Miraz. Even though Mehdi Hasan was bowling in high 80s, they were able to use their feet and dominate. So you need to be able to spin the ball and spin fast. I think this is more and more accepted norm as a team to succeed in India, at least as a bowling attack.
And then, of course, you need a lot of all-rounders to give you that batting depth, because India has a really strong bowling lineup. So you want those people who can come in and bat towards the end.
Yeah, so we're basically talking about batting depth over here. Comes from Jadeja and Ashwin. So if you're not going for like, but at least you should have the batting depth in order to compete in India, because we have got such a great attack, this Indian team, that your top order may not be able to be consistent with their runs. And then your batting depth would be able to probably help you in order to get a decent score on the board. In terms of batting, specifically, since we have talked about the attack and the all-rounders, what do you think in terms of batting the team management would look at who can succeed?
I would say the team needs to have a good mix of right-handers and left-handers. That is one thing, so that the Indian bowlers never settle down. Although we have R. Ashwin, who's probably one of the best bowlers to left-handers, but still I would say that we need to have a good mix of both righties and lefties. Then I think we need to have batters who are also aggressive and can take the game away, because if the team does not take the aggression or take the game to Indian bowling lineup, then the Indian bowling lineup will just stop the match, and then will be able to pick up with those good balls, even on a flat pitch. So we need batters who can score. Also, experience, I would say, is very important in these situations.
Absolutely. So now, since we have set the let's say the principles for an hypothetical team to succeed in India, I think we can move towards creating a template of what our teams could look like. What do you think? Since we are going to do this hypothetical exercise, we should also have some certain constraints in our mind so that we stick to those. Is there any constraint that come to your mind we should respect while forming this team?
I think the active test players, we should look at the pool of active test players from Pakistan and Bangladesh.
No, I think that is good. I think we should be imaginative in our hypothetical exercise, and we should also consider that it could be a long test series with variety of surfaces and conditions across India, so that when we create our team, of course we create our 11, but also contain a 12th man as well, in order to see if this entire pool of players could do something with respect to this Indian tour, hypothetically speaking. To viewers and listeners out there, what we are going to do is, obviously we have created our own set of 11 players, which we are going to slowly walk through. And the idea of walking through is the classical way: top order, middle order, lower middle order, and then spinners as well as fast bowlers. And then we will cap it off with our 12th man and captain for these teams. So picking up from there, we will start with top order. AB, will walk us through the picks.
Yeah, so broadly, we have a few players that we have to select from. We have Shan Masood, we have Abdullah Shafiq, Sam Ayub, Najmal Hussain Shantosh, Shadman Islam, Zakir Hassan, and Mehmadul Hassan. I think when I was picking up my team, the top order was probably the toughest to pick, because I think only Abdullah Shafiq has a good average of batting up the order, someone with average of 40, because other batters have an average of below 30, very little Indian playing experience. So it was a really difficult pick for me. So I have gone ahead with Abdullah Shafiq. And my second opener would be Shan Masood, who is also a captaincy candidate, can be a potential captaincy candidate for me. I get a right-left combination. And I believe Shan Masood, and from the stats also, has a slightly better record opening than at number 3. So he's currently playing at number 3 for Pakistan. But for me, I would want him as an opener. And then when it comes to number 3, I don't think I want to pick up any other player from that list. Instead, I would want Babar Azam to be my number three, because if a team has to compete in India, your stars have to make it big. And for me, that would be Babar Azam. And he has to step up and step up big time if this team has to win in India. So my top three would be Abdullah Shafiq, Shan Masood, and Babar Azam. What about you, SS?
Yeah, this one was actually the most difficult pick, especially the opening conundrum. Yeah, you listed down all the options, and actually, to be really honest with you, none of the options excited me. Abdullah Shafiq is like the deaf amongst the blind. He had a really good start to the Test career, but I think in the last 2 years he has had like 2 centuries, or even if you count 1 century, that was double hundred at Colombo. Still has a very good average of around 40. So I think he becomes like the default pick for me as well. The second opener was where I really racked my brains around. Looked at all the other options. Sam Ayub is an exciting pick, probably a more long-term pick. Not convinced with Shan Masood, because all the great runs that he has scored was when he scored 3 centuries on a trot, happened like 3-4 years back. He's 36 now. Gives a captaincy material, and I really think he's a gritty cricketer, but wasn't really impressed. Then I looked at the Bangladeshi openers. Interestingly, Zakir had a century on debut versus the trio Indian spinners of Kuldeep, Ashwin, Jadeja when India toured Bangladesh, but he didn't score much runs this time. Akashdeep got a really good stranglehold on him. So I was really going for Shadman at some point of time, but all the picks that we had averaged around 27, 28. So it was becoming really difficult. So I went a little bit out of the box and I looked at Mominul Haq. Now, he has never opened for Bangladesh, at least basis my research, and he used to average more than 50, 40 at some point of time. Also was a captain, but 65 test matches, more than 4,000 runs. Quite consistent as well, has scored hundreds everywhere, has got a good technique, good temperament. So I went with Mominul Haq as my second opener. Bit of a left field shout, but I think I'm very happy with that pick.
He also got a century in a match against India recently, right?
Indeed. So he has what it takes to succeed in India, and I think the experience will be very vital, especially with a young opener like Abdullah Shafiq. But yeah, we were being true to our principles. Mominul and Abdullah Shafiq is also a right-left combination as well. So that was something I was looking for.
You want to put him to test in the opening slot against Bumrah Siraj?
Yes, I sometimes felt we have all been following Steve Smith's descent from 3 and 4 to 1. I think Dravid opened at some point of time late in his career, because if you're technically correct, you can do that. Steve Smith's example is not the best example, especially in swinging conditions and in Sena countries. Probably in India, he has the best technique to counter Bumrah and Akashdeep, and even if spin gets introduced earlier in the second innings of a test match, I think he has the technique. So it's a bit of a left field shout, but I think I'm happy with it considering all the other options I had to the disposal. For my number three, just like you, I went with Babar Azam. As our favorite YouTubers from Pakistan say, is Ghantega king now, but I still believe class will shine. And if there is a hypothetical tour to India, I think he will be up for it. He will be there to prove a point. He has the technique, he has the stroke play. He might need to iron out his difficulties against slow left arm spin. But I think I'm very comfortable with Babar Azam, and I think he will do well in India if ever there is a tour that's going to happen. So, having done the top order, we have 1 point of difference, but we have our reasons attached to it. We can now move to the middle order. Who have you got for 4, 5, 6?
So first, I'll start off with telling the contenders that we have for the middle order slot. And I think we have quite a few contenders. We can actually pick a very strong middle order amongst them. We have Mohammad Rizwan, who can also be the wicket keeper for us. We have Saud Shakil, Babar Azam, of course. Both of us have picked him in the top order. Mohammad Huraira, Sarfaraz Ahmed, again a wicket keeping option. Mushfiqur Rahim, Liton Das, and Mominul Haq, who you already have for your top order. Amongst them, I have picked up 2 batters. One is Mushfiqur Rahim. So for me, Mushfiqur Rahim is number 4 and Mohammad Rizwan is number 5. And for number 6, I've actually gone out of this list, and I will talk about that when I come there. But first, reasons for my number 4 and 5. I think very experienced batters on form are doing good. And Mushfiqur Rahim has over the years played some of the most impactful knocks with the bat for Bangladesh. Also has done well in India. So I would definitely want to have him at number 4, coming after Babar Azam. Number 5, I'll go with Rizwan. Really good form right now, has scored big runs in the recent series. So these are my picks for number 4 and 5. Number 6, actually, I want Shakib Al Hasan to come in as one of the all-rounders who can also give me overs with the ball. And I think he's a legit number 6, even for Bangladesh. So any team would be happy to have him at number 6. And I think that also gives me options, more options with the ball later on when we get there. So he's my number 6. What about you?
Very interesting. I can already start seeing some divergence in our team competition, but this is what we are here for. We have different ways of thinking. I do broadly agree with 2 of your picks, especially at the slots. Mushfiqur Rahim for me will go down as one of the greatest Bangladesh batters. He's made runs everywhere. He's a very gritty kind of a batsman as well, but can also attack, plays nice cut and pull shots as well. I think Mushfiqur Rahim was probably a very easy fit for both of us at number 4, and I think it's a good slot. He doesn't keep anymore, but at least he gives a keeping option as well, and he's also a good leader as well. Even if he's not the captain for our 11, I think he'll good great inputs when it comes to fielding as well as bowling. So Mushfiqur Rahim was easy. For 5, I wanted a left-hander in. I looked at all the options. Shakib was there, but against this Indian bowling attack, probably you need batting depth. So I went with Saud Shakil. He's probably the form guy of Pakistan cricket. He's made lots of runs. And I think I'm very comfortable with him. He's made big runs recently in all the series that he has played. And his combination with the number 6 that I have, Mohammad Rizwan, goes very well. Left and right both know each other very well. Rizwan gives the wicket keeping option. So 5 and 6, Saud Shakil, Mohammad Rizwan, and with 4 as Mushfiqur Rahim, this is a very solid middle order. And I think this can give headache to any bowling attack in the world. So those are my 4, 5, 6. I do have Shakib. I will talk about it. But before that, I want to give you the floor to discuss the spin and the lower middle order options.
Yeah, of course. So we have quite a few all-rounders that play for both the sides, so we can discuss about them. We of course have Mehdi Hasan Miraz, Shakib, we spoke about him, Amir Jamal, Salman Agha, and Kamran Ghulam. So these are all the all-rounders. Do you have any picks from these?
For me, I in an ideal world, I would have liked to have a fast bowling or a medium pace all-round option. Even if it's a 50-50 or a bowling all-rounder. But I did not have the conviction because at the end of the day, I want to have good 11 cricketers with a combination that I feel that I would be happy with. I know that you are tilting towards 6 bowlers, but I'm comfortable with 5 bowlers because I already have Rizwan at 6. So I need the peak cricketers. I looked at Ashwin Jadeja and Aksar and that kind of analogy being drawn to this kind of team. And for me, Mehdi Hasan Miraz, Shakib Al Hasan, 7 and 8. Both are awesome cricketers right now. Shakib might be at the very fag end, but if this is a hypothetical series, I think he will be really up for it as well. We saw it in the second test match. He was picking wickets. He was a bit wayward with the bat, but I think he has the class to do it. For me, in terms of this section of the team, this was the easiest to pick for me because I knew that these are the guys I anyways wanted. It was just a matter of them being slotted in a certain order. So 7 for me, Shakib Al Hasan, 8 for me, Mehdi Hasan Miraz. They cover my spin options as well as my all-round options. What about you?
Yeah, even for me, this was an easy pick. And of course, likewise, I would have wanted some pace bowling all-rounder in there as well. But unfortunately, we don't have very good options there. But we have some really good spinners who can bat really well. So Shakib Al Hasan, of course, for me is at number 6. Number 7, I go with Salman Agha, and number 8 for me is Mehdi Hasan Miraz. This is both to get a lot of batting.
Interesting.
This is both to get a lot of batting depth and to get an additional bowling option. So Salman Agha is a difference between our teams. So the reason I went ahead with him is with the bat he averages around 40, right? That's really good for a number seven, and he can also give me a few overs with the ball. So apart from Shakib and Mehdi Hassan, say if it's day four or day five, and we need more spinners bowling to the Indian batters, then I can also have Salman Agha coming in, and he can be fairly effective there. So basically, I have Shakib at six, Salman Agha at seven, and Mehdi Hassan at eight. I think so. That's the second point of difference that we have. That I have Salman Agha instead of.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Salman Agha is an interesting pick. I have to be honest, he wasn't much in my reckoning because I was pretty comfortable with our batting till six, and I knew South Shakil can come and bowl a few overs, especially late in the day or when there's a time for a change of the ball. I think he can do that. I think you are more attacking from a bowling perspective. You have many more options than I have, but I think I have the batting to counter India's bowling. So that is more important for me in these conditions. All right, so we have got
Also,
2 points of differences.
no, go ahead.
Yeah. We can now move towards the pace bowling options, or at least maybe you have a specialist spinner, which
Yeah,
could also be
I,
there.
I actually wanted to see if any of us wants to have a specialist spinner in the lineup. Maybe for the Indian conditions, you want to. So let's see. I mean, we don't have a lot of options there, but we still have a few. Abrar Ahmed is one, fairly new in his career, but he has still impressed people. So Naeem Hassan is the second one from Bangladesh, and then Tajul Islam. Do you want to pick up any spinner from these?
Yeah, I did consider that possibility. That whether I could fit in another spinner. What I was looking for is some kind of variety and some kind of X factor. I think Abrar has a bit of it. He started his career very well versus England, but I still feel that in India you do not want to be giving a lax option to the opposition where they can take advantage. He's pretty young. Uh, he's actually my 12th man, so he's next in line to come in. I looked at Taijul. Wasn't He's not a bad pick. He's got a lot of experience, but he doesn't strike any kind of fear or research in the opposition. I would actually be more troubled by Taijul in white ball cricket when I know Indian batters would want to attack more and he can come away and can vary his pace and do that. He can still do a job. There's no denying that. But when you are picking a unified team, I don't think he makes the cut for me. So for me, I'm sticking with Mehdi Hassan, Mirad, and Shakib as my primary spinners as well as all rounders with occasional over from South Shakil. Neither of them make the cut for me in terms of a specialist spinner.
Yeah, actually, same for me as well. Maybe if we were picking a team for a dust bowl of a pitch, then I would have gone for Abrar Ahmed given his impressive performances in Pakistan. But for the sake of my team combination, and since we are looking at all potential kinds of situations in India, I don't want a specialist spinner because I think Shakib, Mehdi Hassan, and Salman Agha do that for me. They give me enough options, and they are fairly good spinners. So even I would skip these specialist spinners. Should we move on to the pace bowlers now? Because I think that's
Absolutely, we can
a
do
very
that.
interesting pick. We actually have a lot of pacers. We have Naseem Shah, Shaheen Shah Afridi, Muhammad Ali, Mir Hamza, Khurram Shahzad from Pakistan, and then Taskin Ahmed, Shoriful Islam, Nahid Rana, Hassan Mahmood, Khalid Ahmed. Who do you go with? So basically, both of us are saying that we go ahead with three pacers, right? Who are
Yes,
your
yes,
picks?
indeed. Yeah, indeed, we go with three paces. So now our combination is converging again after just going a bit off road for some while. Uh, for me, two of them were primary picks, very straightforward. Shaheen Shah Afridi brings the Pathan energy, brings the left arm speed. He has troubled India in the past. I think he will be also one of those cricketers who will be really up for it when this hypothetical tour happens. So Shaheen Shah Afridi comes in. He can also slog a bit as well, if need be. Uh, Naseem Shah, he has got that star boy quality for me. Really impressed since we first saw him in Australia. He's done again somewhat well in big competitions when he has played against India. Uh, right arm, fast. He has the elements that we talked about in the principles section of how a team can succeed in India. The third fast bowling option was a bit of a call for me. I looked at options. My initial bias was towards Taskin Ahmed. I think once he's come back from all his injury worries, I think he's become a bit of a leader. But looking at his statistics, he's still a leader only in the white ball cricket. His record in Test match isn't great. If you look at the averages, if you look at the strike rates, and I was primarily comparing him with Hassan Mahmood. I think Hassan Mahmood did well very early in his Test career, 5 Test matches, 20 wickets, but he started off well. Did trouble the Indian batsmen in some early greenish conditions in Chennai. So that's my pick. I think he's a bright future and he can do well. Nahid, I think he has the pace and he can be a very good bowler going forward. But I think he lacks the consistency. Economy would be hurting this unified team if he plays. And pretty much the same logic as Abrar. I decided not to go for him. So Shaheen Shah Afridi, Naseem Shah, and Hassan Mahmood are my options. What about you?
Shaheen Shah Afridi for me picks himself a left-handed option, and we have also seen him trouble the Indian batters over the years. Of course, Indian batters have also worked on that, but then we all still remember the T20 World Cup where he completely rattled the Indian top
Oh
order.
yeah,
And so he does
not the memories that we want to want to remember, but yeah,
Yeah,
sure.
absolutely. So he definitely is a bowler who strikes that fear in the opposition that we were talking about. So I definitely want to have him in the lineup, can swing the ball with the new one, and when the ball gets old, if it's reversing, can be a deadly bowler with that old ball as well. The second bowler that I have is Naseem Shah. Again, similar picks. I think he does have that X factor. He looks like he can pick up a wicket at any time and has impressed every time he has played. So I definitely want to have him in the lineup. And also, Shaheen Shah can come in down the order and also score some useful runs. And so can Naseem Shah. We remember that match that he won Pakistan against Afghanistan, hitting sixes in the
Indeed,
last over.
yes.
The last bowler that I have gone ahead with, again similar to you, is Hassan Mahmood. And here some of that recency bias also comes in for me. He was really impressive in that first innings in the Chennai Test, picking up 5 wickets. I think he understands the line and length to bowl in these conditions, and also has the
Mhm.
skill for that. So he, for me, is a good option, right? So yeah, that's my 11. We broadly have two or three differences. One was
Yes.
the opening slot. You went ahead with Mominul Haq, and I went ahead with Shan Masood. Then we wanted some slightly different team combinations. I went ahead
Yes.
with an additional all-rounder, and you wanted to have a specialist batter in place. What do you think? How will this team fare against India?
I think this team can compete very well. But I think still in a 5 Test match hypothetical series, they will be trounced like 4-0, 4-1. 4-1 is my prediction. I think they can win a Test match when India is probably not at its best, becomes complacent, or the star players turn up and play innings of a lifetime or a spell of a lifetime. Uh, but yeah, India will definitely still dominate. And even though I've tried to beef up the batting, the Indian bowling will be just too much. That's my prediction. What about you? What do you think?
I also feel that the team can compete a bit better than what Bangladesh did, but to cross that line and defeat India in India is a very uphill task. My prediction of the scoreline is 4-0 with one match drawn because of the rain.
Nah, no rain. I think Indian team will, if even if it rains, Indian team can win in 1.5 days.
We have seen that.
But yeah, I trust my selection that they can win a Test match. But yeah, I briefly spoke about the 12th man as Abrar because it was a close call for me. Um, who is your 12th man, and more importantly, who are you looking as your captain of this team?
The 12th man for me would actually be Saud Shakil. So having
Yeah.
additional batting option because I have enough spinners. And when it comes to captain, we have a lot of options in there, a lot of experienced players with leadership qualities. We also, at least in my team, I also have an incumbent captain in Shan Masood, but then I don't think he has had the best record as a captain, and that we have seen Pakistan losing in Pakistan. I would hence want to go with a safer option of Babar Azam. I think Pakistan cricket in the more recent times had their heydays under his captaincy. across formats. So I think I would go ahead with him. And specifically, given that it might be hypothetically his first tour in India, he'd be out there to prove a point with both the bat and the captaincy hat. Who's your captain's pick?
Yeah, I resonate with a couple of your thoughts in your reasoning that I would want somebody that who is out there to prove a point, who has had some captaincy experience. I'm looking at Bangladesh for that one, and I'm looking at Shakib Al Hasan.
Interesting.
Probably this is his last tour. We don't know when he's going to retire, probably after the South Africa series. But if this series is to happen now, Shakib Al Hasan has the edge. Probably he will rattle and ruffle up a few feathers here and there, probably on the field, off the field. And probably you need that. Some good old sledging to intimidate this team, Indian team. So I'll go with Shakib Al Hasan. Left field pick, just like you, but pretty happy with this one. So yeah, that's my pick. All right. So viewers and listeners, that was our 11. For you guys out there, we would also try to spell it out. So starting with my 11 for this hypothetical tour, the unified team: Abdullah Shafiq, Mominul Haq, Babar Azam, Mushfiqur Rahim, South Shakil, Mohammad Rizwan as my wicketkeeper, Shakib Al Hasan as my captain, Mehdi Hasan Miraz, Shaheen Shah Afridi, Naseem Shah, Hassan Mahmood as my 11, with 12th man as Abrar. What about you, AB?
So I have Shan Masood, Abdullah Shafiq as openers, Babar Azam at 3, Mushfiqur Rahim at 4, Mohammad Rizwan at 5, Shakib Al Hasan at 6, Salman Agha at 7, Mehdi Hasan Miraza at 8, followed by the 3 quicks, Shaheen Shah, Naseem Shah, and Hassan Mahmood, and Babar Azam as my captain.
Perfect. Fun pick from our side. We often discuss that coaching may not be that valuable in terms of at the elite level, but still there's a man behind probably who's guiding the team with his array of research analysts and everyone. Is there a coach that you would want to have for this unified team that could just tilt the balance?
The current Pakistan coach, Jason Gillespie, who I think can match the aggression and energy of Gautam Gambhir. And I think a lot of aggression is needed in case you want to defeat India in India.
Yeah, smart pick. He has had bad experiences in India 2001, but great experiences in India as well as 2004. Gritty cricketer, great experience. Yeah, so my coaching pick would be Ravi Shastri, actually. I would reach out to him. Probably he will turn it down straight away, like a tracer bullet, like he likes to say. But I think he can match the aggression. He knows insights of how the Indian team functions, and he can add some value. If he says no, I think amongst the two teams that we were discussing, I think Jason Gillespie would be my pick as well.
Makes sense.
All right, guys. So viewers and listeners, that's a wrap on the first episode of the Reverse Sweep Show. Hope you guys enjoyed. We are available on all streaming platforms, Apple, Spotify, Anchor. And yeah, we hope to do this weekly. Please spread the word and give us feedback on what we can do. If you would want to pick your own alternate 11 on this unified team, reach out to us. The coordinates will be in the show notes. And we hope to see you next week as well. So stay sharp.